This year in 2026, I've invested $13,479.17 to be exact as of May 6th. And guys, I did not do this off of no crazy income. I have a regular job just like everybody else. And I kind of want to break down all of the categories, go over every single number to be exact. Also, how I'm able to simplify my investing so it's as easy as possible, and what you can do right now in simple steps to actually be investing more of your income. So we're actually going to start off by going over my investing for my Robinhood account, which is just mainly ETFs. And so far this year, I've invested $7,005.98 in this account, which equals out to $404.25 every single week. I do very aggressive investing, right? Because I'm young. As you can see, this is all my breakdowns of everything that I'm holding. I'm only holding 5 things. Usually it's 4 things, but since I'm making a series about BTI investing, I added BTI right here so you can see, right, which is not something that I usually invest. It's a small portion of my account, and this usually would just be going into my regular investing. So I kind of want to show you guys the year to date, how much this portfolio so far has made. It's just ETFs, as you can see, all of my holdings, just ETFs. And so far this year, I've made $22,800. So 21% return, right? And if we compare that to the S&P 500, so now that we're into the S&P 500 index, you can see that it's returned 7.5% this year compared to my 21% portfolio, right? And it's because I do very aggressive investing. So S&P is usually what they base the market returns off of. So whatever the S&P 500 does, that's kind of what you want to get out of your returns, like either similar to what the S&P is bringing or even higher if you can, you know. Which so far with what I have invested, it's literally 51% of my investing. And hopefully that this video doesn't tell you what to actually invest into. Hopefully you guys can actually start investing in your own journey so that way you can start creating wealth. And then also, if you guys want to sign up for Robinhood, the link is in the description. Me and you will get a free stock worth up to $500 to $200. So if you click the link down below, you will be able to sign up and then get your free stock. And it's just a win-win for both of us. So sign up if you want to. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. You can invest at your own risk or however you feel. But you can clearly see that I'm building wealth investing. And I kind of want to get you guys to start investing if you haven't started investing yet. So that's pretty much going to be it for my ETF investing portfolio, right? Which next we're going to be moving on into my crypto. So right here, if I back out of and I go to crypto. So in my crypto, the only thing I hold is BTC, which is Bitcoin. And so far the percentage on that is 567%, which clearly means that I'm down on my crypto portfolio, right? Which is okay because investing, you're going to lose some, you're going to win some. But in terms of my crypto holdings, so far this year, I've invested $1,069.32 this year alone in 2026. And if I show you guys the year to date is 8.8% this year alone. So we're clearly down in my overall portfolio in terms of crypto. How much I invest weekly is $63.09, and it strictly goes into my one crypto holding, which is BTC. And the only reason I invest into BTC is because, one, you have a lot of major companies investing into it like Tesla and all these other companies. Then two, crypto was literally the highest returning asset over the past decade, right? So if it's the highest returning asset over the past decade, I kind of want to get part of the returns as well. It doesn't have to be too big of your portfolio. Like I said, just because I invest into Bitcoin doesn't mean you should. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get the best returns. As you can see, I'm clearly down. But since it's around like 10 to 7% of my portfolio, I'm fine with it, right? Because the upside is a lot bigger if it were to go up compared to if I lose 7 to 10% of my portfolio. And I don't think actually Bitcoin is actually going to be going down to 0% or $0. So, and with investing $1,069.32 this year into Bitcoin, that is around 7% of my total investing so far this year into Bitcoin. So let's move on to the next thing, which is my Roth IRA Vanguard account. All right, guys, so I'm on my laptop since Vanguard won't allow me to screen record my screen, but we're going to go over how much I've invested so far. So far this year, I've invested $3,952.18 as of 2026. And that comes up to about $141.51 every single week that I invest, every single time that I get paid. All of my Vanguard literally holds exactly what I'm holding into my Robinhood account. The only difference is I don't have BTI, since BTI is literally for my YouTube. And I can't show you guys the year to date for some reason. It's literally like tripping, but you can see if we compare it to my all time. So it's literally more than half of my all time. So most of my returns came from this year so far. But you can see literally it's 30%. If we go over the past year, it's been 59%, which is really amazing. Like I said, I do very aggressive investing, and this account is literally gonna be tax-free whenever I'm able to withdraw. So with me investing $3,952.18 every single, not every single, but so far in 2026, that comes out to around 29% of my total investings as of 2026. All right, so the last thing that I invest into is literally my Sideline cash. And so far this year, I've invested $1,451.69. And as you can see at the bottom where it says activities, besides my interest, I literally invested $75 every single paycheck into this account. And this account is literally just for any opportunities for like my business or YouTube, right? If I need to buy equipment, I'm going to show you guys that I need to buy a brand new monitor. My monitor ended up breaking just because I had my headphones cleaned up to it. And as soon as I got up, it literally broke the screen, you know? So I'm going to show you guys that in a second. But so far with this account, I have not spent anything, and literally my monitor might be the first thing that I actually attempt to buy. So with investing $1,451.69, this comes up to about 10% of my total investings. This is literally the last thing. So let me show you guys exactly what I mean by my screen as well. All right, so this is the monitor that's clearly broken. You can see the pixels on the screen are clearly damaged. That's why I have the Sideline cash, is literally strictly for growing my income, right? And having a monitor is crucial for like editing videos, or if I just want to do something or be productive, you know, since I have a bigger screen to work on. So let's move on to how I simplify my investing, so that way I can show you guys what I do to make it easier for me. All right, guys, so how do I make investing as easy as possible so that way I can stay consistent? The first thing that I think you guys should do is actually automate your investing. So for me, I have my bank accounts are automated, my Robinhood account is automated, and my Roth IRA is also automated. So that means money gets transferred every single time I get paid. For my savings account or my bank accounts, it literally goes into little buckets. So I have like a vacation bucket, I have an emergency fund bucket, which I maxed out so I don't contribute to that no more. And then I also have a Sideline cash bucket, which is what you've seen. And literally I have $75 or the dollar amount exactly going into that from every single paycheck. And this way I just don't have to think about it, you know? You want to make investing as easy as possible, because investing is a lot easier than what you think. Like, you don't have to find the right stock. You don't have to do a lot of research. All of these things that people say, hey, I want to try to get the best returns, like, stop focusing on that and just invest, right? Because the more you start like overthinking investing, it's going to be harder for you to actually stay consistent, because you're not actually going to want to do the research. Just because you think that you have one company that's going to do good and you have another that's going to do good, you're going to be like, I'm not sure which one to invest into, which is going to lead you to actually not investing at the end of the day. So like I said, just automate everything. Like, even my crypto is automated. I don't have to think about it. It literally comes out. I set a amount that I want auto invested into each of these buckets or brokerage accounts, and they literally just go automatically out of my bank account. So if you can automate your investing, it will just make life a lot easier. So that way you don't have to constantly be the one doing it, right? And it's also like having an assistant that literally does all of the investing work for you. So if I were you, just set an amount that you want to invest into every single month, and then just automate it. And then the next thing that I want to go over with you guys is how I maximize how much I invest for growth. The first thing I do is literally start by breaking down my expenses, see how much you're spending, and just keep that as low as possible. So that way you have as much money as possible to invest into whatever you want to invest into. So once I get my 6 months of my monthly spendings, all of the rest of that literally goes straight towards investing, because I want to maximize growth. And then also I find ETFs that are very aggressive, right, compared to like the S&P 500 or just the total stock market or the international, right? Because those hold a lot of more different sectors, therefore it's more diversified, if anything. But in my case, I believe that semiconductors are literally going to run this world because from technology, right? Phones, cars, you got AIs, and then even like storage. Literally, the chip that they make for all of this technology revolves around semiconductors, which I just firmly believe in. And then also I invest into a technology ETF, right? Like I said, I know it's not safe. Some people might not call it diversified. I just believe that technology will always keep improving since everything in this world revolves around technology. In fact, you're actually watching this video with technology. So that's why I think that those are going to get the highest returns, right? Because even like hospitals rely on technology. The government relies on technology from like the weapons they use and everything of that sort. So pretty much just maximizing my ETFs and still being diversified is how I maximize for growth. So that way I get the best returns. And I'm still young, so even if all of that fails, I still have like 30, 40 years to actually invest. Even if I start a business or something like that, I can probably make that money back. And it's not the end of the world just because I have the actual aggressive investing strategy. And to be clear, I am not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to invest into. This is what I do and what works for me. And this is what I'm going to say on this channel. So you do your own research on what you want to invest into, what you believe in, and just don't take my word on it. Do your own research. And if you have the same beliefs as me, then you can do whatever you want. But like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, so another thing that I actually do to make investing a lot easier for me is I only invest into ETFs since they're very simple. You don't have to like do a lot of research in terms of finding the right stock. Then also they're very diversified depending on what sector. They just hold a lot of different companies into that ETF so that way you're not relying on one company. Because I see a lot of people where they think that they can find the perfect individual company and that they're going to get great returns. And just because you do all of that research doesn't mean you know the future and it ends up crashing or going down, which instead they would have been just better off by buying an ETF. So like I said, it's my strategy. This is what I prefer. You can do your own individual investing or you can do the ETFs investing. I just find it a lot simpler. And like I said, they base off the average returns off the S&P 500, which it holds a lot of good companies that are pretty much here to stay in my opinion. And real quick, if you guys are actually enjoying this video and getting value from it, if you guys don't mind liking this video, since a lot of you that actually watch the video all the way through don't end up liking it, which it would actually benefit me so much more if you guys will leave a like. And that also tells me that you guys like videos like this. So leave a like, you can comment down. I will respond to you guys, so don't be afraid to actually comment down. Let's talk about finance and how we can help each other improve. And I kind of want to hear your opinions and thoughts on things. Maybe something like how much you're investing so far this year. And thank you so much. And let's get right back into this video. Okay, so now I kind of want to talk about how you can actually improve on how much you invest, which I think the first thing that you can do is not get caught up into lifestyle inflation and just keeping your spendings low. I think a lot of you, when you make more money or you just get a lucky opportunity, you try to reward yourself with things that you really don't need, and anything that you buy or think you deserve, right, is literally just taken away from the freedom that you literally deserve. Like, I hope you guys know the less you live off of, the less you need to actually retire. And if you're retired, then you can pretty much do whatever you want. So try to live as low as possible, since a lot of the things that we spend money on really doesn't matter at the end of the day. And if you're watching this video, you're probably very big on finance and you want to pretty much take control of your own life. So let's cut back on the things that actually don't matter. Let's get the freedom, and then you can start spending on the things that you want to actually spend your money on. And then also make sure that you have a very easy investing strategy, right? It doesn't have to be too complicated. Just do something like the S&P 500 if you're not too sure what to invest into, or you just don't know about like investing. Just a regular S&P 500, which on average gives you about 8 to 12%, somewhere in between there, is literally all that you need. You just have to stay consistent and you just never stop investing. And literally, like I said, you don't need any type of specific knowledge to be successful at investing. And the last thing you should do, like I said, that I do, is literally automate your investing. And this is literally the biggest key factor. If I had to take one thing from this video that helped me get to where I'm at right now in terms of my investing portfolio, and I know it's not a lot, I know it's not $1 million status, but whenever I talk to older people or whenever I'm around them, they tell me how good of a job I'm doing compared to when they were my age. And if you guys don't know, I'm 23 years old and I have about almost a $200,000 net worth. I'm very close to it. I'm like this close to it, but just automating everything literally just keeps me investing without even thinking about it, right? That way I can spend my time focused on like building my income or just, something at work, or it's something that I don't have to like physically use mental energy for. So if you want to grow your wealth over time, you have to stay consistent and just do it for a long time. And it's not something that you have to keep stalking your investments, see how they're doing. Like I said, if you automate everything and then you live as low as possible, you really shouldn't have too much to worry about if everything goes wrong, because one, you can recover from living cheap because you actually don't need a lot to actually live. Two, it's investing for you. So there's going to be no problem there. Just make sure that you're staying consistent with it. I think the only times that you should be changing your investing strategy are after 6 months or a year, or if you got a big major income change. Like I said, it's just going to make it a lot easier, something you don't have to think about, and it would be automated. And then one important thing is literally increasing your investing, like how much you're investing over time, which is clearly what I did. When I first started off, I was only able to invest about $1,500. And now I'm close to almost 3,000, or I'm going to be investing $3,200 every single month. So I literally didn't do it all in 1 year. I started smaller, and then as you go over time, like I said, you'll invest more. So in order for you to actually do everything that I said in this video, it's literally going to start with your mind change. And if you want to reach your first $10,000, I think that should be the first goal that you set, and then just expand after that. Maybe next might be your 200K or 100K, and then 500,000, and then your million. Just start small so that way you can see your progress. Don't set too big of a goal so that way you're not like, you don't feel like, hey, I'm not gonna reach this goal, it's too far away, or I'm not making any progress. I literally started with $10,000. Once I hit that, okay, my next goal was literally last year, my goal was $100,000. And now, this year alone, my new current goal is hitting $200,000, which I'm literally going to do within like 5 months or so. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Link in the description if you guys want to get a free stock worth up to $5 to $200. Me and you would both receive one. So if you have a Robinhood account and you want to get started investing, this is literally the perfect opportunity for you to start. And then once you have your account and you want to figure out how you can budget your salary to start investing, you can watch my video on how I budget my salary to start investing. And I'll see you guys there. Thank you guys for watching, and I am out.